According to industry analysts, we see 60 to 70% of technology implementations fail. Now, I have a lot of thoughts about the biases in that stats, but that's not what I want to talk about today in this conversation. With all of the work that my firm does in technology restoration projects, I see three main themes, right? Three main things that happen in every single project. I want to talk about those with you so that hopefully you can get in front of it, because the most expensive part of any technology project is going to be the re-implementations, the redesign, the restoration type of work. It's going to cost 3 to 5 times more than your original implementation budget, and that really sucks. And the first one is your IT team, your technical team, and the business, and that might be the PMO or whatever, are on completely opposite sides of the table, so much so that they can't even see each other. And this happens really quietly through different agendas involved in the project. This misalignment or bridge or just pure hatred is 100% a leadership issue, and I'll tell you why. The traditional IT department, right, the computer fixers, the ticket clearers, that were in their cave in the basement and just kind of came out when shit was broken, that is not the modern IT department of 2026, because it's gone from being a cost center to now a significant piece of the value chain of the business. Tell me, someone, a position in the business that does not engage with technology. I'll wait. And the fundamental issue I see here is the IT leadership team has been brought up in that traditional department role, and now, don't have the small task of redeveloping that department to be part of the business, to be partners, right? Not this kind of frenemies that just came in when the business broke shit and IT was responsible for fixing it. So if you only see your IT team on the business side as help desk operators, that's a problem, right? And in the same sentence, if your IT leadership team, VP of Business Systems, CIO, CTO, CDO, whatever you want to call it, are not able to take the agenda of the IT department while protecting that agenda and making it to be in conjunction with what's happening in the business, your technology is going to fail 100% of the time, every single time. Number two, and this one hurts, right? You bought the wrong system. Like, respectfully, you had no idea what you're buying, and now you're responsible for the contracts that you signed. And this usually happens when there's like a rash problem, or we're in a buying situation that's rushed. Were you sold something that was misrepresented? In our industry, probably, but you are responsible for the software that you buy. We just had a client go through this where they purchased an ERP system and they really needed an MES system, a manufacturing execution system. And that happens a lot of times with the clients that we serve because of the complex nature of their manufacturing process. They need more focused technology that can fill those gaps that's not in an ERP suite. And unfortunately, this happens all the time, especially if you don't have someone like us in the room that's an advocate for the situation, that understands the industry, because the best salespeople in the world are in SaaS sales because they make the most money there, and they are incredibly good at selling you things that you don't need, right? A bloated system, or vaporware, things that don't really meet the goals in what you're trying to do. Now, that said, you are responsible for knowing your requirements. And a lot of times, if you don't have experience with these types of systems requirements, it can be very, very difficult to make sure that you understand what you buy. Just with all the noise in the marketplace mixed with this sales wizard magic, you have to know what you buy. Number three, and I would say the most important piece, is the contracts. I know it's boring. I know it's not the most sexy piece of it, but you have to know what you're signing. And in that same sentence, know what you signed in 1998 with your legacy vendors, especially as we see this shift to trying to push clients or customers off systems because they're not as profitable for the vendor, right? So they increase things like maintenance fees, a wild, like insulting amount year over year. We're looking at, 15, 20%, and just slowly crushing the soul of these businesses through these maintenance fees for these critical systems that they rely on to do their everyday work. Extortion. These businesses are large businesses, right? Our firm just services enterprises, so they're usually $1 billion and above. Our clients are, and it's unbelievable the amount of contracts that are being executed or being signed in that lowball, like this director's approval amount, so I'm going to get under that amount as the vendor just so I can get my foot in the door, and then be like, oh, by the way, right, you signed this contract that, initially it was $250,000, but now it's going to be, $6 million for the next 3 years in these fees that you didn't understand. We have specialist SaaS lawyers that look at every single contract our clients sign, so that way these sneaky fees that get in there that cost you millions, it's not like we're paying just, a couple thousand a month. No. These are millions of dollars they're trying to pull from you in sneaky contract fees. We just had a client go through this specifically with their legacy vendor, right? We sometimes have clients that are going to stick with their legacy vendor and they're going to get new license for that. Every time we have a conversation with a legacy vendor, especially if they haven't moved to like the core SaaS as their business model, where Salesforce, Oracle, SAP, right? Like those are in one bucket, but there's still a lot of legacy providers out there that don't sell software anymore, but they still have these really industry specific type of systems. So this client specifically was getting, slowly bled dry by these increasing maintenance fees. We had to go in and find those MSAs internally and externally. This has been 25 years of relationship with this client. So we've got to find these contracts. Ultimately, through our analysis, we found that they couldn't even increase these fees contractually more than 6% year over year. So ultimately, they were breaching contract for the last, 10 plus years. And if the business wanted to, it could go after them for that, right? These are serious pieces where they're blatantly taking money from you and you don't know it because we don't have our contracts organized because it's not cool work to do in technology. And I'm so sick of hearing that. If you want to waste money, just go to the roof or set your money on fire, throw it off, right? That's what we're looking at when it comes to these specific pieces of discipline that businesses don't want to engage in. Every restoration project has some sort of backstory. You guys tell me your stories all the time. I'm shocked that that still happens in the industry. The point of this channel is to talk about those stories and give them air so that people see what could potentially happen and the pain points or, these different areas which they can get trapped in. So please, if you have something to share or add to my list, please do it in the comments. That's what gives people the opportunity to see these without big software, big consulting gatekeeping them because they want to lock you into a huge, massive contract and profit off your confusion.